To your dog, you are not just a human. You are their entire world. But before they decide you are the one they trust more than anyone else, they watch you closely. They study your reactions, your habits, and even how you behave when you think they are not paying attention. What looks like an ordinary moment to you could actually be a test that determines how safe they feel around you. After knowing these secrets, you may discover that your dog has been trying to tell you something important for years. Number 6. The look from across the room. For most of the history of life on this planet, two animals locking eyes meant somebody was about to bleed. Predators do it before the chase begins. Rivals do it before the fight breaks open. Your dog comes from a bloodline where eye contact was a warning, and somewhere along the long walk from the woods to your living room floor, your dog decided to take that ancient threat signal and rewrite it into a love letter. That decision is not instinct at work. That decision is a whole species choosing differently because of the humans they chose to live beside. Inside that quiet stare, something is moving through both of you that you cannot feel but cannot fake either. The same chemistry that fires in a mother holding her newborn for the first time is firing inside both of you at the same second. You are not bonding with a pet anymore. You are bonding with a creature that overrode 40,000 years of survival code just to look at the human shape it has decided belongs to it. The test hidden inside that quiet look is small enough that a person could miss it for an entire lifetime. You either soften your face back, or you do not. You either blink slow in return, or you stare hard. Your dog is not measuring how much you love them in that second. Your dog is measuring whether the love around you is the kind that is safe to live inside. The next test does not stay across the room the way the first one did. The next test walks the whole way over and presses its body into your leg. Number 5. The walk across the room. Every dog who has ever loved a human has had to make a decision in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. The decision is whether to close the distance between the two of you. You have lived through that decision 1,000 times without ever noticing it was a decision. Dogs do not write letters to the people they love. Dogs do not hold hands across a dinner table. They have one way to say everything they have ever felt about you in their whole life, and it is the distance between their body and yours. When they finally close that distance and lean the full weight of themselves into your leg, they are not begging for attention from a busy human. They are telling you, in the only sentence they know how to write, that the safest place in the entire world for them is the patch of floor where you happen to be standing. The cruel part of this test has never been the approach itself. The approach is the easy part for them. The test is what your hand chooses to do the very second they arrive next to you. The grab, the squeeze, the fast lunging hand reaching for the face like a stranger reaching into a stroller. Your dog crossed a whole room, hoping you would have the patience to stay still long enough for them to feel safe beside you. And the wrong hand at the wrong speed turns the bravest thing they did all day into a small regret they will carry into tomorrow. The people that dogs love the hardest are not the loudest people in the room. They are the slowest ones. They are the ones who let the lean happen on its own clock. The next test is the loudest test in the entire house, and it begins the very second your key turns in the lock of the front door. Number 4. The door that opens everything. There is a sound a key makes when it slides into a lock, and there's a dog on the other side of that door who has been waiting all day to hear it. You walk through your own front door after a long day. Your dog comes apart at the seams in the doorway in front of you. The tail is going. The back half wiggles, like the spine has temporarily forgotten what shape it is supposed to hold. A sock in the mouth sometimes, a toy sometimes. We laugh at that moment. We film that moment. What we do not realize is that we are being interviewed in that moment, and the interviewer has been waiting all day to ask the only question they care about. Your dog has spent every single hour of your absence inside a very quiet kind of grief, not the loud kind that breaks furniture, the waiting kind that sits by the door. The house felt wrong without the sound of your footsteps moving through it. The chair smelled like you, but was not actually you, and the explosion of joy at the door is not really a celebration at all when you look closely at it. So, a soft voice in the doorway, eyes that drop down and meet theirs, a hand that is offered instead of demanded. That combination of 3 small things is a pass. The loudest test in the entire house gives way now to the softest one of them all, because the next test happens so quietly that most owners sleep through it for the entire life of the dog. Number 3. The breath you never hear. There's a sound that lives in every dog owner's house that almost nobody ever stops to listen to properly. Your dog is lying on the floor a few feet away from you. The chin is resting flat on the paws. And then, out of nowhere, in the middle of an ordinary evening, this long, heavy breath leaves their whole chest like they have been holding it in for a full week. We hear nothing important in that sigh when it happens. The sigh is actually a full sentence, written in the only language they have ever been given to write in. Dogs were never given words the way we were given them. Dogs were given weather instead. The whine drifts up softly from the corner of the bed. The grumble that rises from the foot of the couch when the wrong person walks past. The sigh that empties them out from the bottom of the ribs. The part of this test that has always broken me a little is what comes after a long string of sharp answers. Dogs who keep getting the snap eventually stop sighing out loud altogether. They learn to keep the small sadnesses to themselves over time, and you will never know you taught them that exact lesson. The next test is the one where they finally bring you something they love with their entire heart, and almost every human in the entire world fails it the first time it ever happens to them. Number 2. The treasure at your feet. There's a very specific kind of heartbreak that belongs only to people who have lived a long time with dogs. The bone, the squeaker, the disgusting stuffed thing with only one eye left in its head. Your dog walks the entire length of the house with it clamped firmly in their mouth like a small trophy. They stop directly at your feet. They look up at you with the most serious face a dog has ever made in front of a human. You reach down for the thing. They pull it back away from your hand. You laugh at the moment. You go back to your phone, never knowing you just walked out of one of the most important moments in your entire friendship with this animal. Inside the inner world of a dog, the things they love deeply are not toys at all the way we think of them. They are the closest thing to actual wealth they will ever own in their whole lifetime. A safe spot to sleep through the night, a bowl that always gets refilled, a squeaky thing that has survived 11 other dogs, 3 different moves, and 1 chaotic Christmas, when they carry the single most valuable thing they have across the entire house and lay it down at your feet. They are not handing the thing over to you the way we think of handing things over. They are showing the thing to you. That small second of your hand reaching out toward the toy is the same exact second from somewhere in your own life when somebody once decided to love only the parts of you they could keep for themselves, and somebody else once decided to love you enough to admire the parts of you that were never theirs to hold. Your dog is asking you which kind of human you are going to choose to be for them inside this house. And then comes the final test of all of them, the one where they hand you their entire small life without ever once opening their mouth to say a single word. Number 1. The softest part of them. Every dog owner who has ever lived has watched their dog roll over onto its back in the middle of a quiet afternoon. The belly goes up to the ceiling. The throat is bared completely. The legs are lazy in the air. Every owner alive thinks the same exact thing in the same half second they see it happen. Belly rub time. Sometimes that exposed belly is a white flag flying. Out in the wild, an animal that shows its stomach to another creature is doing the single most dangerous thing it knows how to do in its whole life. It is offering the softest, most killable part of its own body to whoever happens to be standing directly over it in that moment, and quietly praying that the creature standing over it is not the kind that takes the offer being made. When your dog rolls over with a loose body and a slow wagging tail, that is love. When your dog rolls over with stiff legs and a tightly tucked tail and ears flat against the back of the skull, that is not love at all. The truth that no dog book ever tells you gently enough is this last part right here. A dog who shows you their belly is showing you the part of themselves that no other creature on the entire earth was ever supposed to be allowed to see. They are handing you the very last layer they have. Tell me about the dog who has been testing you this whole time and what they taught you that no human ever could. Drop their name in the comments below.